Well, good morning. It's John O'Brake here, and we're back with Monday Myth Check, that weekly dose of reality where we look at sayings and things that happen in business that we just accept are true, and we never really stop to question, are they true? And today, we're questioning the statement, well, they just got lucky. And I've heard this a lot, particularly in the startup space, in the tech world and so forth. You know, somebody hits on a product and everyone thinks, oh, you know, Zuckerberg got lucky, or Bill Gates got lucky, or someone got lucky. And so I'm going to just come out with a full disclosure here and say, I don't actually believe in luck, okay? Now, I believe there are situations that sometimes we might look at and say, well, they're a bit beyond what we understand, maybe what we can control. But the reality is that luck is not something that just happens, okay? Call it fate, call it whatever. The reality is that what we see someone getting lucky, there's a whole process that's gone in behind that. And so we're going to just have a quick chat about that this morning, and we're going to really look at this idea, they got lucky, okay? And so even in some of these big companies where we mentioned before, if you went and said, hey, you got lucky, they would smile at you. They would go, thanks for that, but there's a lot more behind this. You know, you look at all these companies that started in garages, they had to go through lots of processes, they had investors, they had all sorts of challenges, they had fights, they had legal battles, and they continue to today. And we just kind of look at them and go, oh, they're just wealthy, or, you know, they've done well, or the company's really wealthy, or whatever it might be. And so we just say, hey, they got lucky. And so this is something I really want to think about today. Let's have a look at what luck really is composed of, because at the end of the day, I think luck is composed of a lot of good hard work, a great strategy, having a good team of people behind you, thinking through processes, being intentional, or as my buddy John Gibson would say, being attentional, paying attention to what's around you and really working through that process. It's really interesting, you know, we think about, imagine if we just thought, well, Thomas Edison just got lucky, right? He got lucky inventing the light bulb. Well, we all know, and nobody seems to agree on just how many light bulbs it was, whether it was 100, 200, 800, 1,000, whatever. But at the end of the day, there were a lot of failures, and we've talked about failure as an option and in an earlier myth check. But at the end of the day, there was a lot going on there. And so one of the things that he said is that genius is 1% of inspiration and it's 99% perspiration. And so getting to that place where people see you at this level, they think you're lucky, they see you as a genius, whatever it might be, this thing that they feel like you've just arrived at or you're just born into. And again, we'll talk about leaders born or made in a coming video as another myth check. But there's lots of these things out there, right? And so that's where we really look at it and we say, well, luck is a whole combination of stuff, okay? But in and of itself, no one just wakes up and gets lucky. Even lottery winners. You might think, well, what about lottery winners? You know, they pick some random numbers, they make a couple of $1 million, they got lucky. Let's go and have a look at sudden wealth syndrome. Go and look it up. And you'll find out that the majority of lottery winners, yes, okay, so they pick some numbers, they probably spent thousands and thousands of dollars, and there's tens of millions of other people who never get money and still invest the same amount of money as they did. So yes, they got the right numbers in order, they were there showing up, but the luck runs out when they don't know how to handle the hard work it takes to carry that kind of wealth. It's called sudden wealth syndrome. Have a look at it. And so even at that end, you know, you would look at that person, you know, they say the majority of lottery winners end up more broke than when they started. And so just having a think about that. So luck is one of those things where it's much more a matter of perspective. It's gradual breakthroughs. As we said before, it's paying attention to the journey. It's having a strategy. It's setting what success looks like for you and getting after these things. So let's have a quick think about the actions for today. So what are you working towards? What do you feel like, hey, it'd be really cool if I could just get a break in this one or get lucky on this one? And so what I want you to do is to make a list of the things that you're working on, the things that you're doing, maybe the things you shouldn't be doing as well. Make a list and think about, are they getting me towards that ultimate outcome? And if so, how do you then set them into a plan of success over 12 months, 3 years, 5 years? In fact, in the Forge Mentor, in our mentoring program, we work through this process, okay? We do it in 12-month chunks, but you can pick longer if you want. Because at the end of the day, what we want you to do is to start making steps towards. Don't just sit back and wait for your ship to come in when you haven't even put the ship out to sea in the first place. Make intentional steps. Pay attention to what you're doing, what matters, where's my purpose, what's my strategy, who have I got to bring around me to do that? How am I going to communicate where I'm going and so I can get others involved in that journey? And what are the processes to make sure it just keeps repeating itself? Do these things diligently, and one day someone will look at you and go, they got lucky. And you'll just look back at them and smile and go, let me tell you a story about that. I'm John O'Brake. This is Monday Myth Check. As always, enjoy the journey.